Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. With me, Farid Alfarizi, and my team will be presentation about corruption trends in Indonesia. So, focusing on how it relates to education and governance, corruption as well and now has become of the most serious problem in our country, affecting not only the economy but also public trust and even our moral values as a society. In Indonesia, corruption is often seen as a routine, inevitable issue, but in reality, it damages opportunities, distorts justice, and slows down our nation's growth. That's why it's important to understand how corruption develops, who tends to be involved, and what factors, especially education, can help prevent. Education is not just about knowledge or academic performance. It's all about a value, ethic, and social responsibility. When people receive better education, they are more aware of the consequences of corruption, not just legally, but also socially and morally. So, in today's presentation, we will discuss how corruption trends have changed in Indonesia over the years, how they are linked to education and governance, and what lessons we can take from the data. Let's begin by looking at the Anti-Corruption Behavior Index, also known as APEC. Okay, for the next slides, Anti-Corruption Behavior Index by Education. The Anti-Corruption Behavior Index, or APEC, measures how strong people's anti-corruption attitudes are. Based on the 2024 data, the results show a clear pattern. So, below senior high school, in 3.81, senior high school 3.87, and above senior high school 3.97. The numbers might look small, but the pattern is significant. It shows that the more educated people are, the stronger their resistance to corruption. Education builds not only intelligence but also awareness and empathy. People with higher education levels usually have more access to civic education, ethic classes, and they are also more exposed to information about the impact corruption, how it affects public service, development, and even daily lives. In short, education helps people realize that corruption is not only violation of law, but also a moral failure that harms everyone. Therefore, strengthening education, both formal and moral, could be one of the key creating a cleaner, more ethical generation for Indonesian futures. To explain how this relates to actual corruption trends and data, I will now pass it with my team, or will now pass to my team or my speaker. So for the Santi, silakan.
Okay, thank you Farid, and hello guys, I'm Santi Rosita Purba, and now let's take a look at the overall trend of corruption case handled by the KPK from 2004 to 2024. Okay, based on the data, you can see that the number of corruption cases has generally increased over the past 2 decades. The highest point was in 2018 when KPK handled 199 cases, the most in this history. Wow, so many cases, right? Although this number slightly increases in recent years, the long-term pattern shows that corruption is still a persistent issue. You can see the statistics. The statistics tell us two things. First, KPK has become more active and effective in uncovering corruptions. But second, it also means that corruption continues to occur at many levels of society. So, while the KPK has made progress, the fight against corruption is still far from over. This trend raises a question like what types of corruptions are the most common? Let's take a look at the next slide. In 2024, the most common corruption cases were related to procurement of goods and services, with 68 cases, followed by gratification and bribery, with 64 cases. Thus, two types dominate because they are directly connected to government projects, budget allocations, and bureaucratic processes. Meanwhile, other cases like extortions, money laundering, and budget manipulation were fewer, but still dangerous because even a single case can damage public trust. So, corruption mostly happens when there is opportunity to misuse authority, power, or money in public projects. Okay, to reduce this, it's not enough to publish the corrupt. We also need transparency, digital governance, and public oversight in every stage of budgeting and procurement. A transparent system makes it harder for people to cheat and easier for citizens to monitor public funds. Next, my teammates Septirostiana will explain which institutions, professions, and regions are most involved in corruption case. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Santira Smita Purba, and hello guys. I'm Septirostiana, and I'm going to invite you to explore about corruption that happen in institution, profession, and then in region. And then the firstly, let's see which institution were most involved in corruption cases during 2024. Guys, as you can see here, according to the KPK data, the highest number came from ministries and government agencies with 40 cases, and then followed closely by state-owned enterprises with 38 cases, and then local government with 30 cases. This shows that corruption is not limited to the central government, but it happened across multiple levels of the system, from national ministries to regional officials, and then from high-ranking officials to local administrators. Corruption remains a threat institutional integrity. These findings highlight the need for stronger internal supervision and then integrity training and then clearer accountability system inside government institution. Because what, guys? Because when systems are weak, it becomes easier for personnel to exploit them for personal gain. And next, let's see corruption by profession and region. Guys, when we analyze corruption by profession, most suspects are excellent first, second, third, and then fourth officials, followed by private sector workers and then member of DPR and DPRD. This shows that corruption involves not only the government but also the business community. And FYI, both sides often collaborate in illegal practices or project manipulation. In terms of region, Java records the highest number of corruption cases, which 66 and then followed by the central government with 39, and then Sumatra with 26. One explanation is that Java and central government manage the most development project and budgets, which means more opportunities and then more temptation for corruption. This tell us that fighting corruption is not only about uh, catching the guilty, but also about reducing opportunities for corruption to occur. That means better management and then more transparent budgeting and consistent enforcement in every region. Now, let's move to the final our presentation, that is conclusion, and then I will give a reflection. Okay, from all these findings, we can conclude that the first one is higher education contribute to stronger anti-corruption behavior. And then the second is harassment and bribery remain the most dominant type of corruption. And then the last is the largest number of cases occur in Java and then a central government institution. This insight reminds us that education and integrity and transparency must go hand in hand to build a corruption-free Indonesia. It's not enough to rely on law enforcement alone. We must also strengthen moral education, especially from ourselves, families, school, and then communities. Because at the end of the day, corruption is not only about stealing money, but also about bettering trust. As the KPK always says, integrity starts from within. Let's all take part in creating a generation that is honest, responsible, and proud to say no to corruption. Okay, maybe that is the last for our presentation. Thank you for watching this video. And the last we say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.